Hey y'all, I am here with Hayden and Keith from Icon Branding, and we were just going over some strategies and what they do to help build your customer client awareness. And they have some really interesting thoughts, so I thought we'd share it with you and see what y'all can do. So, yeah, thank y'all for your time.
Cool.
So, what do y'all do for your clients? I know you've been in the business for a long time. Just started this, what, 6 months ago?
Not even that.
This
September.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I've seen some of the work y'all have done, and it's fantastic.
Appreciate that.
So, yeah, just give us a little info.
So I've been doing this for about 30 years. I started off doing freelance and then got into setting ads for a newspaper. Ended up working for another agency for a few years, cut my teeth on automotive advertising, and went in there young and dumb. I didn't have a clue what I was getting into in more of the corporate agency kind of world, and they threw me to the wolves.
Okay.
I was doing something like 80 ads a week for newspaper, doing graphics for television spots, things like that. And then that progressed to me going out on my own, starting a little agency. We ran it for about 3 years, gained a good clientele, and then my partner wanted out. We sold the business. It got bought up. I stuck around as the creative director for that agency for the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Doing that, we racked up 40 some odd design awards, Addies through the AAF, which is the American Advertising Federation, the Muse Awards, the Davy Awards that are geared towards like boutique, smaller agencies. Um, that agency recently sold, and so I went back out on my own and picked up this guy who has had my back the entire way and has been forcing me, the designer who works in the middle of the night staring at my screen, to actually get out and meet people and let them know the ins and outs of what we do. And uh, he's been a pretty valuable resource for me. But we are a branding and visual communications firm. So we deal with creating what your brand looks like and then how everything is implemented.
And I got into the business about 2 years ago, worked with another agency. I've been doing business development through pretty much my entire sales career in one way or another. I was a banker for a long time, then got the mortgage business, then got in general contracting, but I've always built my own network of contacts and people, and so that way I'm a relationship type of person. So just made sense when Hayden left his previous agency for him and I to start our own thing.
Right.
Been going to the Sherman Chamber for almost 2 years and have developed a pretty decent reputation here, and I really like the area. So, and there are so many businesses that need help here, especially with the growth that's coming to Sherman. I think we're supposed to double in the next 5, maybe even triple in the next 10. So a lot of businesses here are used to the word of mouth way to get clients, and that's going to change rapidly because there's going to be a lot of companies moving here that know the marketing game, know the branding game, and they're going to take the lion's share unless businesses here that have been established for a very long time get on board and understand what we can do for them. So
Right. Yeah. I've been in this 3 years, and consistency is always pushed. You have to be consistent. You have to stay on target. Everything else is just noise. Stay out of the noise. Whenever they see your ads, or even like I mean, some of the postcards in here, like they don't even have to open it or look at the whole thing. They just see the color scheme. Hey, it's so and so.
That's branding.
Yep. Swoosh. I mean,
Golden arches.
Just consistency and visibility.
You see a big brown and gold box truck.
Yeah.
It's UPS. I mean, like
Yep.
you know before it ever gets there. Unless it's not UPS and it's a plumber who happened to buy a secondhand truck
Right.
and hasn't painted it yet. But even then, like I didn't order anything.
Mhm.
Is that package coming to my house?
Yeah.
Most people think that branding is a logo, but it goes so much further than that. Branding is the experience that the customer gets. So what we end up with is this need to develop a logo, but then you have to develop the fonts that you're going to use, what kind of messaging voice you want your company to have, the photography styles, all of those little details that nobody ever thinks about are sometimes the most important aspect of any given brand. Of a lot of the local companies around here, Paragon, I mean, even the Christmas tree back here is brand colors. Like this office is branded through and through. And they do really well. Keith and I were actually talking about the fact that Paragon, as a corporate organization, their brand is on point. Some of the realtors could use some help
Right.
on figuring out what their brand is under the Paragon banner. And we've been working with Yvette on trying to figure out what that looks like for the individual realtor and how we might be able to help you guys on that front.
Mhm.
But there are so many people in this area that rely on word of mouth, and word of mouth is great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Half of our client list is word of mouth.
Yeah.
The other half is carefully designed appearances at networking events. It's carefully designed work for our clients who in turn, we've got one client who's probably sent us 6 others.
Yeah.
Because they know what our work looks like. They're happy and they're showing it off.
Yep.
Those kind of things definitely come into play, no matter what size or market your company belongs in.
Right.
We're just 2 guys with a network of other people, and there's a lot of stuff that we do hands-on ourselves. They're things beyond our own capabilities. We send those out, but we send them out to people who are vetted and trusted and have the portfolios to back up everything that they're claiming and everything that we need. And like I said, 30 years of doing this, that's a lot of contacts over the years.
Yeah.
Even in his 2 years, he's far more adept at networking than I am. On a general level, like I like my dog and like 3 people. So it's one of those things
I
that
think I might be the third, but this question.
It's certainly fun to see. I mean, like I said, being in the business for so long, but spending half of that time here in the Sherman-Denison area. My family and I moved up here when my oldest daughter was 9, 10 years old. She's almost 30 now. I personally have worked on building my brand, and a lot of times over those years, I've been the guy behind the guy.
Right.
And so now I've got a guy who's like, no, you're not the guy behind the guy. You are the guy. I'll be the guy behind the guy and make sure everybody knows. And it's been incredible. Like the reception that we've gotten at some of these chamber meetings and things of that nature have been just unreal.
Yeah.
We started the business September 1st, and here we are with a client list of over 50 names. We're working on big projects, like the kind of projects that banks hold up checks because they're not used to seeing that amount of money coming into the account.
Right.
And it's exciting. It's just the start for us. I mean, we've both been here before through other organizations, but now it's on our shoulders. And this entire time, we're sitting here going, okay, we've got this. We don't need somebody else backing us up as far as a bigger organization or a bigger name. We're out there and we're doing it, and people are seeing the quality of work that we're putting out because we actually care. It's not not my particular emphasis that I'd like to put there, but I guess like a sailor.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to succeed unless our clients succeed.
Right.
So the impetus is on us to make sure that if you take us on as your branding agency, we're going to take care of your marketing. If you need help with our website, we're going to help you with that. If you need help with any print material, we can help you with that. Promotional materials, if you want to be on a Hulu ad that's geo-fenced to a certain zip code, we can make sure that your ad shows up and it's a non-skippable ad. And there are so many different things we can do to make sure that your company or your brand is successful. We don't just do logos. We don't just do branding guides. I mean, we do magazines.
Yeah.
We just finished a pretty large magazine that's going to print.
Yeah. Lake Texoma Association.
Okay.
Huge organization all around the lake. It's got members. We're doing their magazine, and it will be released early in January.
Okay.
It'll be hitting the shelves in travel centers and marinas, bars and restaurants all throughout the area.
Yep.
If you find a copy, pick it up. It's their 70th anniversary.
Okay.
So we went through and we do all the layout and the editorial work on that. They provide content. They sell their ads to their members, and we put it all together. We arrange for the printing. We arrange for the drop shipping, direct mail if necessary. And these are things that we're doing when, as a design-based agency, like I could say, okay, well, I'll put the magazine together, but the rest is on you.
Yeah.
And that's not what people need. What people need is not just the direction, but maybe that extra help. Like, you've got a business already. You don't have time to be searching out these things. So we can do the design, but then we'll help facilitate all of those other aspects that you just don't have time or knowledge base to support.
Or give you the tools to where you can go implement it yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Lake Texoma Association, love the organization. Brady Burkhalter over there is the executive director, and she's done as much for Icon Branding as Icon Branding has done for Icon Branding. We've been working with her for quite a while, and I actually designed their last year's magazine through the other organization that I'd been with. But she's probably sent us 5-6 clients over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
And we're just now at that final review of the magazine. So the magazine wasn't even done being designed. And she's confident enough in what we're doing and how we're handling things that she's sending that on to us. And there's not a whole lot of options here. There are a couple of other agencies in the area that you could reach out to, but one specializes in automotive. One has more of a focus on governmental or nonprofit kind of organizations, and their aesthetic isn't as widely varied or as experienced. So what you end up with is good work, but maybe not everything it could have been.
Right.
You end up with a client who gets a decent branding, but they just don't love it, and they're not sure how to use it. And that's the biggest key. I can't stress that enough.
It's very templated, cookie cutter. You're going to be part of whatever industry they specialize in, and they kind of use a template to do all of their clients. brands, as opposed to taking the time to look at what are you trying to accomplish and what can we do to differentiate you from the people that are doing what you do.
Right.
That's what you pay us to do.
It's like headshots, everybody knows the realtor pose,
Right.
or,
Yeah, and then everybody knows that when you see a logo and it's got like anything from like a Kelly green to a darker green, like it's probably a financial institution.
Yeah.
If it's red and blue, it's probably going to be medical. And nobody thinks beyond that. There are certainly brands out there that break those molds, but it's because somebody cared enough to break that mold.
Right.
Everybody thinks of certain industries having certain colors associated with them. But, why can't a bank be purple? Why does it have to be green?
Yeah.
Some of those things, some of the smallest details, how the wording is laid out, what fonts you're using. Is the headline this big or is it bold? Is there a discernible and consistent hierarchy to how things are on just a straight up text page? Those kind of aspects, most people don't think about. And it has been kind of a mission of mine. Like I said, I hate seeing things like, just pages and pages of ads just crammed together and all of them using the same old tricks and none of them caring about what it looks like as long as it drives some sort of sales. They're not looking for quality of client.
Right.
Most sales are generated because they're looking for quantity. And I'd rather have one $10 customer than $5 customers.
Yeah.
I think most businesses would benefit from that. But ever since I was a little kid, I hated all the crammed ads. I've always wanted to recolor my world to be something more beautiful, something more intelligent in how it's perceived. I went to a small private school growing up. All my friends, they didn't have homework, and I had hours of homework. But my horizons were greatly broadened through high school and college so that I could see that there is so much more out there than just those standard psychological tricks. And most people don't look past that. I want to see the guy behind the curtain.
Right.
I want to see what makes things work. And I know that Keith is that way too. And so when he and I get going, we get to the root of it, we break it out into all its parts, and we put it back together to be something way better.
Yeah.
And I think that we do a fairly decent job of it.
Yeah. A lot of our clients also, before they jump on board, one of their main concerns is like, how much is this going to cost us? And it's really hard to dictate how much anything's going to cost before we actually sit down, have a conversation, figure out what you're trying to accomplish. And then you let us know what you're willing to spend, and then we try to put in the best tools possible with what you've given us to spend to accomplish your goals. Because as our companies grow, as our clients grow, we're going to grow with them.
Right.
We don't want to have a one-off website and be like, thanks.
Right.
Thanks for the $2,000, $3,000, and we'll see you down the street. We want them to grow and then utilize our expertise and their future ventures, or if they become national. Like, we don't work just in Grayson County. We can work in Oklahoma. We're not strapped down to just Texas. We can. Yeah. He's had international clients. Yeah. Italy, Brazil. All over the world. China, Australia. So
it's one of those things that every company globally is looking to become part of that global economy.
Yeah.
Not just the state economy, not just the national economy. They want to be part of this world economy, and I think that kind of connection is important. even if you're a little small mom and pop and what you're doing is meant for this area because the demographic here loves all of your little knickknacks that you make with the pecans that fall out of the tree in your yard, that's fine. But when you put it out there, even with the homemade aesthetic, you have to have all of those things in place because eventually there's going to be this guy in Oklahoma who's been doing the same thing, but he's got an investor and he wants to come in and partner with you and build this thing and ship internationally. And so you want this thing to grow. You don't have to necessarily sacrifice values or your personal vibe for that of your business. I hate branding a company based on the company. I brand a company based on the people. Who owns the business? Who's working the business? What are their core values? What is their personality? If this person comes in looking like Punky Brewster every day to Paragon, but they're kicking butt in their sales, that's part of your branding.
Right.
Incorporate that. Throw that one hot pink ornament on that branded tree.
Right.
And because that personality, that little quirk is what separates corporate, trusted, corporate. People are people. And what does it matter?
Right.
The company is just a name. It's just a building. It's just a shell. It's the people that make the company. The branding needs to reflect the people. The branding needs to reflect the industry. Sure. When you look at a logo, when you look at a name of a company, like it needs to kind of give you some idea of what that company is about.
Right.
Yeah. Now, like ours is Icon Branding Agency because that's the URL. It's iconbranding.agency. But Icon is the name of our company.
Right.
Branding agency is just secondary.
Right.
But when you think of an icon, you think about that person that's on top, that's admired.
Yeah.
That's what we do for our clients. That's what we're trying to do for ourselves. We're trying to put you on that pedestal, separate you from the others. We've both been stuck in weird spots within the industry, and so we'd like to say that we've been burned and we're just a couple of phoenixes rising from the ashes. So like our icon on our cards is like this origami phoenix, and it's little things. When I write icon, the I is longer, and that little bird sits right at the top of it. So at first glance, it looks like a pencil because we're design oriented.
Right.
The CON in icon is shortened because it's raised up, it's elevated concepts.
Gotcha.
But that also makes room for the branding agency aspect, which fills out our whole logo as our URL with all these little things that nobody's going to think about unless I say something about it.
You've seen the Amazon
But they still
logo, right?
Yeah.
It's got the smiley face, but it also is A to the Z.
Yeah.
The A is connecting the Z. So they do everything from A to Z.
Yeah.
FedEx
has the arrow between the E and the X. These are hidden little Easter eggs that most people just never notice, but they notice. Like I said, it's Pavlov's dog. It generates a response, and whether it's ugly or whether it looks great, if the response is generated, they're going to come.
Yeah.
When that bell rings.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it to be pretty. I want something that I want to do all of the cool projects. I want to do all the pretty projects. I want to do the stuff that makes my world a little prettier for my kids and my grandkids. I want to brand companies and educate them on how to use that brand, not just to grow their business, but how to put back into their community as a part of that. And he was talking about how he's done business development his entire career. That's something that both of us, so we do as much consulting and educating our clients as we do spending time doing design or development. Right. And I think that that's important.
And we also like to, because going back to how much does it cost to do what we do, we like to use the triad. There's great, there's fast, and then there's expensive,
Yep.
right? Do you want great work that's fast? Well, that's probably going to be expensive. Do you want fast work? Well, great, fast, expensive. Everyone knows what that triad is.
You can only have two.
We like to be great and fast and moderate.
Yes.
Right.
We're not going to be the most expensive agency in the block. We're two guys.
Right.
We live in Sherman Denison area, and as much as this area is growing, right now the cost of living, if we were doing this in Dallas, is a whole other story.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't have to be $1,000 an hour agency.
Right.
We can be a $300, $400 agency.
Right.
But the quality of work that we're getting is still up there with those agencies. But the idea is that we're not the cheapest, because the cheapest is going to get you the same stuff that you see everywhere.
Right. You don't want to be the cheapest.
Yeah. You can use AI to write all the copy for your website. It's great. You can use the AI to design your website. You can use AI to design your logo. AI is a great tool. And it should be a jumping off point.
Right. It's a brainstormer.
Right. When it designs a logo, have somebody take a look at it that actually knows something about design and say, okay, well, I think that the concept isn't bad, because you put your prompt in just right. It kind of came through on some of the things that you really wanted to focus on, but let's dig deeper. Let's take that concept and develop it a little more. When it comes to writing text for your flyers or your website, did you bother to read it? Did you spell check it?
Most people
Did
don't.
you go in? Did you go in and edit it because there's this crazy run-on sentence that doesn't really do you any good? Doesn't give any more information. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know.
Or do you want that to be a reflection of your company and your brand? If you're not taking the time to proofread or actually put the effort in to make sure what you're writing makes sense, then it doesn't that instill confidence in what you're doing as a business.
Yeah, I'm a grammar Nazi.
Me too.
And if I've gotten a little more relaxed as I've aged a little bit, but at 20, absolutely not. Some of these things. Now it's like, well, people get lazy.
Right.
But I completely.
It's something I tell my kids, because I've got two daughters, and they're like, why does English matter? Why does going to class? Like, well, first off, you speak one language. So at least speak that language well.
Yes.
Right. Take pride in what you actually, the only language you speak.
Right.
And
Master it.
Master it. Yeah.
You use it every day, all day.
Right.
There's no excuse not to have it mastered.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes far beyond the word of the day calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you do the work, put in the effort. And as a designer, like, I hear all the time that, like, AI is going to kill my job.
I hear it as well.
You know,
Zillow is coming.
but just like
Yes.
just like mastering English, like, hey, you have to master how to properly put in prompts for the things that you need.
Yeah, do you speak AI?
AI is still growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, when it comes to AI, our generation, how old are you?
I'm 33.
33. That's my magic age right there. I'll tell you why. After this, but it's one of those things that at 47, I grew up when Google had to have those kind of prompts in the search. There wasn't just quick sentence like you would now, or even just a word. Like, we had to do like the word plus this in quotation, comma, this, and in order to generate any kind of feasible search result.
Something, yeah.
So for AI, like, it's kind of a step back on how to write those prompts. So like, as the older generation, like, I actually have a leg up on that.
Right.
I was a master of that when the internet was first a thing. Because yes, kids, I remember that.
waiting for hours for a page to
Oh man,
download.
yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole. But
Mhm.
being a designer who really takes pride and like I sit down and in my spare time do designs just to do designs because like I've got this idea in my head and I've got to do it. My wife is also a designer, more of an illustrator than a designer, and like both of us worked from home for years. I haven't worked a real job in more than a decade. I've always been freelance.
Yeah.
And there's some freedom in that for sure, which every business owner is after. They want to be able to work for themselves, sustain themselves, and the people that are working for
High
them.
risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes it's feast or famine. But when it comes to AI and comes to design, like I've seen some fantastic AI tools. I use AI on a regular basis.
Yeah.
When I have this idea in my head and I'm just not quite sure how I want to get it out, I'll use the AI that's embedded in the Adobe programs now.
Yeah.
To generate something so that I can sit back and I can look at it and go,
Like you said, brainstorm.
Yeah.
Use it as a fire starter.
Right. It's not your end all be all.
Mhm.
But
and there have been like finished product quality work that I've seen come out of some of these AI prompts. But how much thought was actually put into it? You've got one person with a limited prompt. So you're only getting like this much of the picture, and AI goes, oh, we can do that. And here's the exact mirror copy of that in a format that you're looking for. What we have to do from there is take that and go, okay, well, there's so much more. Let's open this thing up. And now it's a little bit bigger.
Yep.
Just
now
polish.
Now we've got that. And then we take that and we go, but there's still more. And we grow that a little bit more. And then we come back and we polish that thing. And so now, instead of having this little fleck of glitter that was the idea, and then maybe a bigger fleck of glitter that's the AI product, now we've got a polished mirror. And you can sit back and look at it and go, okay, this is a true reflection of what I want my company to be.
Right.
And I could talk for days about this. I could go down so many rabbit holes on this stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
Passionate.
yeah. You know.
And he gets on a roll.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can definitely tell. Well, I think it's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all's time.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. It was great speaking with you. And I'm sure I'll see you out and about.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
We will definitely be around.
And check us out at iconbranding.agency.
Yes.
We can do, like I said, websites, branding, SEO, video production, photography. We can get you on the radio. We can get you on TV. We can get you on tablets, computers. If you need something for your company to get your name out, brand awareness, we're the guys.
For sure. So, all right. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Preston.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.